Information age has resulted in a powerful communications revolution, and most aspects of this revolution are positive. The economic and social impact of the internet cannot be minimized. The educational opportunities for our children have been tremendous, and for those of you who have children on the internet, some of those opportunities have not been so good. But with all this information and technology comes much responsibility and a tremendous potential for abuse. Without proper safeguards, your privacy, and much worse, your safety, is at risk. Your very identity is at risk, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. As elected officials, we have a responsibility, we have a duty to protect our citizens' privacy and to protect our citizens' public safety. And when the government is compelling citizens to turn over private information, private confidential information, that duty is even greater. The fact is that Pennsylvanians' right to privacy is under attack in Pennsylvania, and unfortunately the government is leading the charge. The Department of Labor and Industry requires every employer in the Commonwealth to send financial information about their employees to the department so that the department can compute unemployment compensation rates, etc. Unbeknownst to anybody, of course without legislative permission because they didn't need it, the Department of Labor and Industry took that information and entered into a contract to sell it to a computer company in California, claiming that it would make it easier for Pennsylvania citizens to obtain a mortgage. After a public outcry from myself, and other Democratic legislators, the governor rescinded that contract and acknowledged that it was a tremendous invasion of our citizens' privacy, taking their own private financial information, selling it to a computer company to be available on the internet without even their permission. The Department of Transportation entered into a contract with a Georgia firm to sell your private confidential driving records to insurance companies to obtain automobile insurance. That Georgia company in turn sold that information to a company that is now placing that information, your confidential driving records, on the internet. Over 3 million Pennsylvanians' driving records are now on the internet, and the Department of Transportation has been forced to rescind that contract and acknowledge that, one, they broke the contract at the Georgia company, but two, there is no retrieving those driving records. The damage is done. The beginnings have started of your knowledge, your identity, all out on the internet improperly, the government collecting that information. And now the Allegheny County Board of Assessors has stepped up to the plate. A judge ordered 3 years ago a complete reassessment of our county, and assessors fanned out across Allegheny County. And I disagree with some of the comments that were made in my opponent's opening statement, because the quality and the qualifications and the training of some of those assessors, believe me, was inconsistent at best. Some were professionals, some were hired from the old county assessor's department, were experienced, knew their job. Others were simply taken off the street working at McDonald's 2 or 3 days ahead of time, and the next day they were evaluating your home. On the floor of the House, a representative stood up and discussed how an assessor came into his home, took sketches and took measurements of his house. To say they weren't in the House doing that contradicts a representative and the record on the floor, in the House, in the floor of Representatives. They spent $30 million to do this reassessment. Now, you know, I was in the prosecutor's office in Allegheny County for 6 years. I tried hundreds of cases. I tried rapes, homicides, murders, and burglaries. And if I was a burglar, and if I was a criminal, and I understand a little bit about their criminal mind after my experience, I would love to have this information available to me at the click of a mouse. That doesn't even take into consideration what this information does for telemarketers who are harassing people day and night anymore. They now have information on the internet that have a picture of your home, and I disagree because I have articles here that will show from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette and from several areas that discuss the information that was going to be placed on the internet. How many bathrooms, how many bedrooms, drywall, hardwood, floors, and a picture. I have a copy here and I'll show it to you later, of the website that they've talked about from Cincinnati, Ohio, with a picture of your home. This information is dangerous information when available to people all over the internet. We should be protecting our people's rights. That's what government should be about. Recently, a Florida judge, in federal court, a federal judge issued an injunction when a internet company was placing the financial information of federal judges on the internet. That information is available at the courthouse. You can go down to the courthouse, you sign a sheet of paper, you say, I want the information of so-and-so, they see you, they know you, you say what you want it, and the judge gets a copy of that information. The reason that that judge issued the injunction from keeping that information from the internet was the safety and security of that federal judge. I'm telling you that all our citizens deserve that same treatment. All our citizens need and deserve the opportunity to feel safe in their homes. This information is public. The issue is how public and the degree of availability. It should not be on the internet to protect our citizens' privacy and their safety.
Thank you, and thank you for that opening statement from Representative Frank Dermody. We now